So I have a new segment. It's called App Appreciation Day. I don't know if that title is going to stick, but what I'm really after is taking a look at apps, SaaS apps or native apps, things that we find useful in business and marketing, and highlighting them in a video, of course, to you to find some value in learning about these new apps, but to also look at these apps from the creator, product maker point of view. So what are the things that I appreciate not only in using the app, but what do I appreciate in their branding, in the business, in the design, in the website? And in today's video, we're gonna take a look at the Tetra SaaS app from my good friends up in Boston. They used to be in the WordPress space. Now they're doing this. It's a phenomenal app. It's something that I haven't started to use day to day, but if you're somebody out there who has a marketing business, a content marketing business, since we talk a lot about that on this channel, or even if you're an agency or a service, getting systems and processes into a readable, usable, and collaborative form is something of an anomaly. It's tough to get all of that into one place. We have email, Slack, and I think the de facto place to put all of your documents and your processes and your outlines are in Google Docs. And it's just not, or Google Drive with a combination of different files that you're sharing. It's just not a good place. It's like that cabinet that you just throw everything into, and then when you have to go find something, you open up the door and everything just falls out on top of you because it's not organized. You really don't know where everything is. And Tetra looks to solve that. So let's take a look at the homepage of Tetra. Again, this is not a sponsored video. They don't even know I'm making this, but hopefully they find it useful. But looking at the branding and looking at the marketing and the messaging of this site, it's kind of refreshing. It's nice to have this sort of non-techie approach, and it's a very nautical scene. I don't know if that's because we do a lot of whale watching off the coast of Massachusetts or Boston, where these guys are, but it's just a different take, at least from the apps that I normally deal with. It's not these polygons and graphs and just harsh sort of techie colors. This is a different feeling, and in a crowd of competitors, it's nice to find something unique because you kind of identify with it, or you remember it when you see it, on your poster board when you're making your decisions, when you're looking at ways to, create silos of knowledge in your organization. You'll remember Tetra from their logos and their creative feel. Let's take a look at the pricing. Again, another reason why I'm recommending this app is because you can get started for free. And I think if you're a solopreneur or working with a small team, getting these systems down, getting documents in place, getting your processes written out and highlighted and organized, Tetra is going to really solve that for you, and you can get started for free. I'm not going to go into all the features in this video. I'm not going to go into every little detail, but one of the most powerful things of Tetra is if you're in a big organization and you're working with many teams, is you can give content or documentation or systems to just teams, and they can collaborate on just that. So they're not affected by the rest of the documentation throughout the company, which you kind of run into when you're in that Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive scenario. So for the free version, you have up to 20 pages that are team-only pages. Once you need to go beyond that or unlock more storage, that kind of thing, and other integrations, that's when you move up the chain to the $39 base a month plus the $10 per additional 5 users. It's a very straightforward price. I remember when they started out, pricing wasn't as clear or as clean as this, but they've improved over the last, I think, couple years now. One last thing that I want to highlight on the homepage, and again, as a product maker and marketer, their resource section, if you're out there trying to market a product and trying to figure out how to do all this stuff in a clean, concise way, look at their resource section, help center, guides, courses, case studies, templates, and use cases. The thing that really drives my attention, or grabs my attention, I should say, is their courses page. They have all of the courses on how to use their product and probably even enlighten the potential visitor to things that they haven't even thought of before, like lesson number 3, building a culture of documentation. You might not even know the value of documentation, and you're kind of perusing the site, looking around. If you can take a course, learn about documentation, the importance of it, and how it can impact your business, your organization, your sales, that kind of thing, your developers. These courses can provide value to customers without even signing up for the product, which is a great thing. I think a lot of content marketing companies or people thinking about doing content marketing, this is the type of content you should be leveraging. So let's go ahead and dive into the actual use of the app. I haven't really used this app to the fullest extent that I want to yet. In fact, I've just been toying with it and thinking about the different ways that I can create systems for my podcast. When I start to share it with editors and audio producers and things like that, what can I put into the Tetra documentation live stream that I want to streamline for my own needs? But here's what they do. They make it really easy. They take a lot of that critical thinking of where do I get started, and they have quick ways to get things moving for you. So all I did was click a button and it loaded these top level organizational folders for me, or guides for me. So engineering, human resources, marketing, new employee onboarding, all of this fun stuff that allow me to quickly build out the organizational structure of my business. On the left-hand side, I can still navigate all this stuff. I can see all my pages, my categories, my suggestions, which I'll dive into in a little bit. But the point here is and really what I really want to highlight and not do a full tutorial on this stuff is, it's clean, it's simple, it does some critical thinking for you, but then it gets out of the way so you can actually create documentation and processes. And that's so important, because most of the time people are like, oh, I gotta follow this template. I have to follow this, workflow that my manager wants me to do, and it can get daunting. And if it's in Google Drive, you got to go find it. It's clumsy, and then you just don't end up doing it, right? It's like food preparation when you're dieting. Like if you don't prepare the food, then you don't eat well. And sometimes people are like, oh, I don't really want to prepare food because it's boring. If you can make it easy and you have all the equipment that you need, you can get it done. That's what Tetra is like, at least from my perspective. If I go ahead and click on editing this note or this document, you can see here from the outside view, the public view, I can comment on it, I can emote on it, I can see who's looking at it, I can see if it's part of a greater organization on the left-hand side, but I'm gonna go ahead and edit it. And this editor in this is better than a lot of page builders and website content management systems that are out there. It's so clean and effortless. All I have to do is start typing. I can start typing here. I'm gonna leave that typo there, I don't really care. But you can see that when you move down the page, all you have to do is hit this plus element to bring in the element expander, I should say, which brings in the embed, the images, the file uploads, the bullet list, and it just gets out of the way. And it's so easy and so clean. And I think that's very important in the documentation creation process, to be able to quickly make this stuff, format it without too many options, so that people can move on about their day and just make the content as precise as possible. Here's another reason why I like Tetra, and I've appreciated what they've been building here. In the back end, you can go to your templates. And again, this is the part where I think they really differentiate themselves from the rest. I mean, when you look at some of the solutions that are out there, like a Google Drive, very complex, or not really made for it, but we end up using it anyway. It has nice collaboration features, but it's per file, and it's not this all-in-one solution. And you look at something like Asana, these big, massive, project management tools, and maybe some people use that as a method, and it's just so overwhelming. There are so many features. But the critical thing is they're not thinking about your business. They're just making this generalist tool. Tetra does these templates that you can quickly spin up things you might not even been thinking of, like a new way to create meeting notes. So you can quickly preview it and say, hey, that's a nice way to create and structure a note. Or, I'm gonna close that, or if you're somebody who's out there as a freelancer or an agency and you do these proposals all the time, let's preview the proposal. Here are some steps, some milestones, some risk assessment things that they've put in here. These are just quick ways to launch these documentations. You don't necessarily need to use them. You can improve them, you can remove stuff from them, but just a sense that Tetra is building this stuff to quickly get you to create this documentation without any barriers. And I think that's so important to the documentation and process. And lastly, the thing I appreciate about Tetra is the page suggestions functionality, and they have like the Tetra bot, and I can see this really becoming something of a very unique selling point to Tetra. If they're building in some kind of automation or machine learning, that kind of thing, to see how your organization is creating content, to suggest content to make or pages to make, right here they have something like why I'm trying Tetra, and if I go ahead and create this new page, it's going to spin that up and create this template for me to work in. And these are things that I think that are becoming something of, as a cornerstone to your business. When you're starting to run your business and start your documentation process, there's things out there that you're not thinking of yet. And if Tetra can help you find those things, you're gonna get a return on investment on this app that is way greater than your $35 a month. I know that's a pretty hard sell right there, but I just get inspired. Again, looking at it from the product marketing side, I get inspired by seeing these types of integrations and these achievements in automation and machine learning and say, wow, this is something that's going to be way better than the competition, because the competition is thinking so generalist and so broad, whereas Tetra is thinking, how do we make organizations love doing documentation, automate that process, integrate it with other applications that are out there, GitHub, Slack, those types of things, Zapier, and really improve the process. What do you think? Are you gonna try Tetra? You can try it for free. Again, not a sponsored ad. They don't even know I'm doing this, but I'm really enjoying the idea of using this and I really wanna dive into it. What do you use for documentation? How do you set your processes? If you're sharing with a team, how do you collaborate on that stuff? What tools are you using to get that job done? Let me know in the comments below. It's mattreport.com, mattreport.com/subscribe to join the mailing list. Hope you liked App Appreciation Days. I don't know if that name's gonna stick, but we're gonna try another app maybe in a couple weeks. We'll see you in the next video.